Duante Abercrombie from Washington, D.C. I'm an Ogre. Ogre Phi Ogre was a 13, I believe. Stayed in James Hall, 4th floor. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So the people at the NHL reached out and they said, Dante, hey, we want to follow you for a day, just a day in your life, just to catch up and see what you do. We're working on something, but we can't tell you what it is. I was like, sure, no problem at all. And on that same call, they also said, I need you to block out a week of time in September. I have a wife, I have 2 kids, we're moving to a new home, kids are going to new schools. How am I going to be able to make this work? But Kwame, who's the filmmaker, said, Dante, I wouldn't have you do something unless it was truly worth it. And I was like, Kwame, I trust you. And I slotted out that time, and the rest was history. They took me out to Arizona for development camp, which was amazing. I got a chance to experience what it's like to be an actual NHL coach on a day-to-day basis. That's the personal conversations with the players, the conversations with the GM, the conversations with the coaches that are actually there coaching the team. So I got that fully immersive seat at the table that, unfortunately, people that look like us traditionally at Hampton University don't get an opportunity to do when it comes to the sport of hockey. So I honestly fell in love with hockey when I was 5 years old. I did a learn to play or a learn to skate session that my mom signed me up for. She was a major proponent of trying things that are different than the traditional Black experience. Obviously football, basketball, track and field. She was a statistic having me when she was a teenager. So she didn't want her children to be a statistic of Washington, D.C. So she said, I'm going to put them in different avenues that they can now experience something other than the streets of Washington, D.C. in late 1980s. So I did the learn to skate. I loved it. I saw a hockey game immediately after. I said, Mom, I want to try that. And she took me up to the front desk. She said, how can I sign them up? She signed me up for the program, the Fort DuPont Cannons, which actually is the oldest diversity program in North America. It just happened to be in my backyard in Washington, D.C. And Coach Neil Henderson, who was just inducted to the USA Hockey Hall of Fame, first Black to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame of the United States of America, he brought me in with open arms, and that's where the passion began. So when I was at Hampton, I actually could not play hockey because obviously Hampton University does not have a hockey team. I tried out for a junior team. They wanted $10,000 for me to be able to play. Didn't come from that type of money. We weren't able to just sign that check immediately, so that wasn't able to happen. But I still remember walking around the student center. I had a stick, I had a ball, I would stick handle. The passion was still there, the love was still there. I would wear my hockey hats, I'd wear my hockey paraphernalia around campus. And one thing that I noticed, there was a lot of individuals, another one who stayed in James Hall the year before me, Eric Ford, he came up to me and said, hey, I used to play hockey when I was in New Jersey. This conversation, this connection would have never happened had he not seen me wearing my hockey paraphernalia. So I normalized Blacks in hockey while I was at Hampton University. The response has been unreal from Hamptonians. I actually just gave a speech just this morning to some individuals in Boston, the government in Boston, and a Hamptonian spoke up very quickly, and she was like, I heard you shout out Hampton University. I went there in such and such a year, and I'm this, I'm that. Like it was amazing to have that connection in what was supposed to be a diversity conversation about the growth of hockey. Hampton University still showed up and showed out. I've had numerous individuals that I went to school with have reached out, people that I'm still in contact with to this day. Again, another shout out to James Hall. One of my really good friends, Teron Patterson, is getting married pretty soon. I'm a groomsman. He was like, Dante, this is amazing. This is something that we need. Hampton University should honestly have a hockey team at this point in time. But honestly, there's certain steps that need to be taken for something like that to happen. But Tennessee State is potentially getting ready to get one. So like the McDonald's effect, you don't just put up one, you put up 2 or 3. Tennessee State gets one. Hopefully Hampton gets one soon as well. So if they called me honestly to try and start the process, I would honestly have to go through the NHL, do the feasibility study, but I would be absolutely honored. Hampton University is obviously my home. We have the slogan "Home by the Sea," but honestly, I stay in touch with my people from Hampton University, honestly, as often as I possibly can. We have group chats, we have phone calls that we jump on. It just shows how small the Hampton world truly is. So if the Pirates came calling and I'm available, I will definitely pick up that call. So honestly, if you want to follow my journey to the NHL, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all the other social media platforms. It's at Black Hockey. It's at BLKHKY. That's my acronym that I wanted to have on my license plate when I was a player. And it just turned into my social media. But if you go to YouTube, you can follow this series. You type in NHL Bound on the NHL page, you can be able to find the entire series. But if you also type in NHL Bound, you'll find an older series that I used to do when I was training. So you can find old Duante, you can find new Duante as a coach. It's pretty cool. One thing I'm really big on right now is being intentional about whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life. You can't just go through life haphazardly. You have to make sure that you have intent, you have purpose on a day-to-day basis. If you don't know someone that currently is working in the field that you want to go and work in, find a way to reach out to somebody at LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Find somebody, make it tangible, ask them what they do on their day-to-day basis, because we don't have time to waste. This life is way too short. We've seen this in this past 2 years. So that's, if I can impart any type of quote unquote wisdom from my experiences, find a way to make things tangible and be intentional in the way you move on a day-to-day basis.